What's going on, everybody? Welcome in. It's the Wager Alarm live stream. I'm your host, Howard Bender. With me here, of course, Craig Mish. Craig, what's going on? Good to see you over the weekend. Nobody knows that I was there, but hey,
you were very sneaky. You were very sneaky.
It was a very sneaky trip there. Very, very
It was
sneaky.
Great seeing you. It was great seeing Al Williams and Dan Williams and my first ever live final for any kind of DFS contest to see that happen. And I am super proud of Fantasy Alarm, and I know, and I got to tell you why I'm most proud, because as you guys know, and I've been doing stuff with Fantasy Alarm and Wager Alarm going on a couple of years now, and I want to just say, for those of you who do this, and the wagering is obviously very different than the DFS, but I want to tell you in my heart, I mean, not only did Howard and Al and Dan and everyone involved in the Fantasy Alarm family, not only were they humbled and also excited with this, but to me, to see the disappointment at only winning $15,000, it told me that, wow, I am with the right group here, because they really take winning very seriously. And had it not been, and look, had it not been for anything in sports to me, there's a lot of good analysis out there. There's a lot of people that do that we do. They're good, but there are very few people that are just transparent that say a lot of this is luck. A lot of this is luck.
Sure.
And who knew that Derrick Henry was going to go ballistic? I mean, I guess you did, because you had him in the original lineup, and you went for you went all out to try and win it. And I get it. I understand it. You can do the best you can, and you can prepare as much as you can for any of these things, whether it is DFS or whether it is gambling. But as they say, luck is when preparation meets the opportunity. And certainly, congratulations to you guys. $15,000 is nothing to shake a stick at. It was really cool to be there. Thank you for inviting me to come down and watch the end of that. And then we had a nice time, I thought, watching the end of the Dallas New England game. And then the Sunday night game was not a lot of fun. I mean, it was fun actually for us because we picked San Francisco.
There you go.
But it was over as soon as it started. I mean, it was over. I mean, Green Bay had no shot whatsoever in that game. It reminded me of 90% of the games the 49ers have played this year. 80%. The two games that they haven't played like that, well, Seattle's a good team. Arizona has the secret sauce to whatever San Francisco is doing. I don't know how they've had it all year long when nobody else has. But long story short, great seeing you as well on South Beach.
It was a lot of fun. It was a good time being there, and thank you very much. Yes, definitely.
$15,000.
I know. One player in.
You guys were like, 15 grand. 15
in the
grand.
zone.
Whatever.
I was mopey for about 5 minutes. Come on.
Oh, I know, but I was happy to see you guys. I mean, look, you're winning 5 figures playing fantasy sports. It's good. It's good. It's a good thing.
It's amazing. Well, we want to make 5 figures doing a little gambling now.
More than that.
We're ready. We're there. Let's talk about what went down over the weekend. So, Golden Nugget 3-3-1. We slipped up on some college games. Had a push on one college game there.
Let's go through it.
And then 4-1 in the Westgate Super Contest. So
back-to-back weeks of 4-1. We're 8-2 over the last 10. This is mimicking exactly what happened last year. It's going exactly the same way. There are going to be some gimmies in week 16 and 17. We're above the 500 mark now in both contests. Our goal is obviously to be somewhere around 55%. Our goal is to win the Super Contest and make $1 million. Our goal is to win the Golden Nugget and make $400,000. But we understand that that's very hard to do with all the people that are participating. And so from our point of view, since we do post our picks every week at Wager Alarm and WagerAlarm.com, we want to make sure that we're winning more than we're losing. And so if you've been tailing us all season long, we have been winning more than we've been losing. And as a professional bettor, that's exactly what you're looking to do, whether you're doing it casually or doing it with a certain amount of bankroll at the beginning of the season. You got to, manage that bankroll over the course of the whole year, and then, hopefully take some shots, especially when we really like games over the course of the year, too. So there certainly were a couple games we really liked here. But as you mentioned in the Golden Nugget, there was really only one pick, I think, that was just way off, which was Utah State at home playing against Boise State, and Boise State just went in there and crushed Utah State. And that's the danger of taking a line on a Wednesday or Thursday when you're not sure if the quarterback is going to play or not, and that was part of that conversation. And Boise State's quarterback did play. Jordan Love on the other side has not played well. I mean, Jordan Love 2 months ago was the number 1 pick in the draft, right, ahead of Tua. And look, he still may be, Howard, in a month from now. He still may be considered to be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft based on his combine. But I got to tell you, from what I have seen on the field this season, that combine is not going to tell the entire story. So very poor performance, I thought, from Utah State. In terms of that push, West Virginia played against Oklahoma. West Virginia was in it and winning a lot of that game. And we got a 7 on that. The line went to 5.5 when Spencer Sanders, the quarterback of Oklahoma State, was announced out on Thursday. So we took advantage of a 1.5 differential there, which in contests like that, you absolutely have to do. This time it didn't work out for us, and we got a push. And then the other games, you want to go through?
Yeah, what was Tulane? We had +6 against Central Florida.
Oh, what a wild finish that was. That was incredible. We did not deserve this win, but we will gladly take it. Tulane, Central Florida, I'll tell you what happened at the end of this one. Central Florida is up by 20 points with 5 minutes to go, and up by 2 touchdowns with, I want to say 3 minutes to go. And Central Florida, and then Tulane scores. Central Florida gets the ball back on the onside kick. Central Florida is attempting to kick a field goal. They botched the field goal. I don't even know why they attempted it. Tulane goes all the way down the field, scores a touchdown. They converted 2 4th-down plays, a 4th and 4 and a 4th and goal with 15 seconds left for us to get that push. By the way, they also got the onside kick Tulane after that, and they reviewed it after and gave it back to Central Florida. And at that moment, I was going to text you, please don't get the onside kick, because if Tulane gets the onside kick and they tie the game and it goes to overtime, we could lose that.
Right,
end the game, please. End the game. So, a very fortunate pick for us with Tulane, honestly.
No doubt.
But we'll take the win. We've had some bad ones. We've had some bad luck ones, so we'll take some good luck ones.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? Balls bounce differently for everybody, and we'll take it when it comes to our advantage here. Next one here. This one surprised me. Tulsa, we had -3 against Houston. Picking on Houston, knowing that they're packed it in for the season, that they were completely done.
Tulsa outgained Houston by 250 yards in this game. And the quarterback for Tulsa looked like he never played a game in college in his life. He threw 4 interceptions and fumbled once. And let me explain. Let me give you the long and short of this. We lost. That's it. The quarterback throws 4 picks in a college game. You're going to lose. And that was the end of it. So I don't need to break it down any further on that one. I just gave you the stats. They went up and down the field consistently on Houston. And the quarterback kept throwing picks. Bad pick.
There you go. There you go. And then the final one, listen, we took a shot, Ohio State, giving 18.5 over Penn State. I liked the Ohio State pick. I thought we were going to be
good at first, yeah.
Yeah, it did. And then all of a sudden, I don't know how Penn State ended up getting all close, but what are you going to do?
You know what? It wasn't as close as it appeared in the end, but we got to give Penn State the cover there. And look, there was really, once the second half began, Penn State started to come back. There was really no shot for us to cover that one as well. So unfortunately, last 2 weeks we've been 5-0 and 4-1 on the college games, and this week we took a little bit of a step back. But the good news was in the Golden Nugget, both of our NFL games won, which picked up the slack for us, and that was a good thing.
No doubt about it. First game that we took were the Giants, getting 6.5. Against the Bears. Listen, you and I, we don't like the Bears. We'll talk about the Thursday night games, the Thanksgiving Day games recap here. But, bottom line is that neither one of us are big believers in the Bears. I learned my lesson from a couple of weeks ago when I was looking to take them and lay in 5.5. And listen, it says a lot. And you and I talked about this, Craig, and you had said to me, it says a lot here when the Bears can't put up points on the Giants. On how bad the Giants defense is, to see the Bears not be able to even crack 20 points, that was insane. We got away with a nice cover there.
Yeah, and I just don't think that at this stage you can make the Bears a favorite over any team in the NFL. And you may say, what are you, nuts? When they're at home, they should be a favorite over Miami or over Washington. Yeah, a favorite, meaning -3, which is what you give the home team.
Right.
But that's not really an edge. It's just basically saying that the two teams are even. Look, I don't know how many games this season the Bears haven't scored a point in the first quarter, but there are a lot of them this year. And the Giants scored a touchdown in the 4th to get this cover, and then they did have the ball again to potentially get the win. And on a 4th down, I believe it won, they turned the ball over on downs, and that kind of ended things. So Yeah, I have very little confidence in the Bears, and honestly, I am surprised with how poorly that they've played this year, and have kind of taken a step back. I didn't see it being this bad. Sometimes teams come out of nowhere, they win 10, 11 games, and they surprise you, but I didn't think they'd go from that to 7-9, and I don't think that they'll be much better than that this year.
Probably not. Probably not. Last pick, the one we won. This one, I got to give you all the credit in the world for. This was, you said it to me. I said, no way. You said, no, I'm telling you. I said, okay, fine. This was one of those games where I was just waiting to text you in the first quarter and be like, I told you. And lo and behold, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we had them plus 4.5. And look what they did to Atlanta. So now all of a sudden the question is what the heck do we do with Atlanta? That's another game that we're going to see on Thursday.
Yeah, we took advantage of the right spot. It was a good spot there. The Falcons are still frauds. Their stats overall are better than a lot of the bad teams. I wouldn't put them in the same category as a Miami or a Washington or maybe even a Detroit. Like they're better than those teams, but this whole Dan Quinn with the calling plays thing was just way over the top, man. It's the same players that are on the field.
Right.
And I again, another team that shouldn't be favored in NFL games. Like, yeah, as a dog, I would consider Atlanta in some spots. If it was a pick'em game against Tampa, I would consider them. But how did Atlanta deserve to be 4.5-point favorites over anybody in the NFL? I know they played 2 good games back-to-back weeks, but I watched that game 2 weeks ago, and they were going to play again this week with the Saints and the Falcons, and the Saints moved the ball down the field every single time. They just couldn't score touchdowns. They kept kicking field goals. So sometimes you have to look deeper into the game. If you're having trouble scoring in the red zone all season long, that's one thing. The Saints only had trouble in that game, so I wasn't really buying Atlanta. I know they came back the next week and won also. It wouldn't shock me to see them lose the rest of their games, the rest of the season. They had a nice little run. Every team in the NFL has a nice little run over, Miami had a nice little run for a couple of weeks too. The Jets are on their nice little run. The Raiders had a nice little run, but eventually those mediocre teams come back to earth, and I think that's what's happening with the Falcons.
Right on. All right. Well, we took both those games in the super contest as well. We didn't get the half point from each. Well, if we had +6 there, that was still no problem. Bucks, we got the 4.5 as well.
Right.
The other games that we went, Jets +3. That one, start to finish, that was all Jets. Oakland just didn't even remotely look good.
It wasn't close.
I didn't have much confidence in their ground game. That was abandoned. Then Derek Carr looked bad. So that was an easy one for us. We said we won the 49ers -3.5. Green Bay was atrocious. In that one. Yeah. And then the one loss we took, it was the Lions -3.5. We lost on a half-point hook there.
No, they lost outright to Washington.
Oh, yeah, they did. That's right, Washington. They kicked that field goal at the end. Either way, I mean, that one right there, that one came down to a field goal too.
Yeah, we were in it. Can't feel bad about that. I guess, the moral of the story is the analysis on Detroit is they've just completely fallen apart after looking good early on in the season. I'll still maintain that when their season win total comes out next season, I'll be interested in siding on the over with the Lions because they've played so many one-score games, and I think that's going to turn next year. They'll win some of these games that they've lost, and so if their number is 6.5 or 7, I may go over that, similar to Buffalo this year. But no, it's really hard to side with the Lions as a favorite moving forward for the rest of the season. I just don't think you can do it.
No, you cannot. I couldn't either. Although
I couldn't.
Although here we go, either. Walking into Thursday in the first game,
right?
And right now Chicago's favored by 2.5. Now the thing about it is that we're not sure yet who the quarterback's going to be because Driscoll's hurt.
Driscoll's hurt too?
Driscoll's hurt. So right now they're looking at this kid.
Who's the backup?
David Blau.
From Purdue?
Yes.
Oh, we can't take the Lions then. Oh, no. I didn't know that. This is a bad job by me. I didn't prepare for this live stream. Listen, this is a big problem. David Blau, I saw play on Purdue for many years. They kept using him and then benching him. They were going with 2 different quarterbacks there. Yeah, I don't know. That changes the equation for sure. Driscoll is capable. Is capable. This Blau is not capable, I don't think.
Well, the tough part about doing a game like that for either contest, the Super Contest or the Ultimate Football Challenge, is that you have to make that decision ahead of the game, and we're not sure. I think still right now, Jeff Driscoll is a game time decision. By the time, if we want to use these games, by the time that we have to have these picks in, there's really no telling who that quarterback's going to be. If we're talking about Jeff Driscoll, I'm in for the Lions at home on Thanksgiving Day, plus 2.5. But if it's David Blau,
no,
I don't necessarily know if I can touch that.
And Blau played with Jeff Brom, who is like a quarterback whisperer, where he's been coaching previously at Western Kentucky, I believe, and he's coached some good quarterbacks there. I've seen Blau play, Howard. This is more along the lines. By the way, of all the guys we've mentioned, I think Brandon Allen in college was way better than David Blau ever was. Mason Rudolph in college was way better than David Blau ever was. So if that's what, I hope that tells you something about this. Like, he wasn't even great at Purdue. So, if that's the case. If it was Driscoll, I feel pretty good about it, though.
Yes, agreed. The rest of Thanksgiving is, let's see, Buffalo at Dallas. Dallas is a 7-point favorite in that game for right now. We talked about, when you and I talked earlier in the day, leaned on Buffalo a little bit.
Yeah,
However, the line's got to stay at 7.
Yeah, I think so.
Going lower is worse.
Yeah, road underdogs is just absolutely the way to go continually in the NFL. All season long, this has definitely been the case. Teams that have been road dogs have covered over almost 65% this season, just to give you an idea of some of them on a week-to-week basis. This week, Tampa Bay, road dog, outright win. Giants, road dog, cover. Panthers, road dog, cover. Seattle, +1, cover. Dallas, +6, cover. Every week this is happening, and it's really, I don't just like to go blindly with trends. It's not what I do, but it just seems like home favorites in the NFL just have decided they're not going to cover this year. So the trepidation I have here a little bit is that Buffalo, they if it gets out of hand, it's really hard for them to come back because they don't score a lot. Right. Dallas does seem to be pretty good regardless on Thanksgiving. There's this silly narrative that the Lions are always good on Thanksgiving. I don't think that's the case. Dallas, on the other hand, is usually pretty good on Thanksgiving, but pretty good laying 7 or pretty good laying 4. That's a big difference. The total is 46 now. Went up from 45 earlier today, so that tells you that's kind of climbing a little bit. But at least my lean would be on the Bills. It would be on the Bills. They've played well enough this season, I think, to at least earn the respect of a +7 in this one. Every single quarterback that's gone against Buffalo this season has not done well. But then when you look at the list of quarterbacks that have gone against Buffalo this season, they really haven't been great either. So that's the one side. That's the other side. Now let me go back to the other side. Who is a great quarterback in the NFL? I don't know. There's only 4 of them or 5 of them. 3 quarterbacks this season have been benched after playing Buffalo. I don't think Prescott's going to get benched necessarily. So my lean is definitely to the Bills.
I like it. Listen, anytime I can go against Dallas, I'm a happy camper. No doubt. Yeah.
Last week was a shame. They got that little cover at the end of the game.
That was depressing. I lost I lost a couple of bets on that one. Yeah. One of which to our friend Jim.
I saw him take a pie this morning. I saw.
You did. He took a pie this morning. I'm gonna have to take one for him for that one. I was. Listen. There was no way that New England was gonna kick that field goal at the end of that game anyway. There was no.
I was yelling. I'm like, look.
There's no way. And then the 2 throwaways from Brady, or the one throwaway from Brady.
He threw it in the end. And then there was still a second left on the clock. Boy, that clock operator at Foxborough, man, that guy's in trouble, huh?
There are a lot of upset people. That last pass to Michael Gallup really did some damage to some people in the fantasy community. I had a couple of calls, people talking about just bad beats in general.
Play. Yeah.
And that last play cost them. So
we'll we're gonna Buffalo. We're going to have to decide on these games. We've decided, by the way, for the Golden Nugget football contest that, at least from looking at it initially, and I don't know how you feel about it, but we're going to stay away from using these games in the Golden Nugget contest. But since there's a relatively full slate on Friday for the first time all year in college football, this is always the way it works the day after Thanksgiving. In all likelihood, we're probably going to have a game or 2 from there. So we're going to submit our Golden Nugget contest picks on Thursday night. So when we come back on Friday, those will be submitted, and we may even have a result on 1 or 2 of the games on Friday when we have our live stream. So, but as far as the super contest goes, back-to-back 4-1 weeks. We're not going to change it up at all. We're just going to hammer the games on Sunday and maybe Monday night. So we're passing, from the Golden Nugget. But in the Super Contest, we may use one of these games because we still can get this in by Thursday, I believe, on these. But we have to submit all our picks if we do it there.
Wednesday at like 6 o'clock or something like that is what the due date time is for that. But all right, so
and then Chicago, the last game.
Yeah, the last game, New Orleans at Atlanta. Here we go.
I don't know about.
Do you have a read on this?
I really don't. Huge home dogs are not doing well for whatever reason this year. I'm not really sure why. The Saints, if they didn't play so close last week with Carolina, they are easily 9.5 in this game. So there's a little bit of an overreaction here to only having the Saints a 7-point favorite. Maybe some of this is the last 2 times these two teams played, and I'm not really even buying into that. I probably would guess that there's a lot of points scored in this game, even though the Saints have had some trouble inside the red zone. They haven't seemed to over the last couple of weeks. And Murray's been scoring more. He looked good last week. Kamara looks like he's back at full strength. Of course, they have Thomas. And I would guess that you'll see a better performance from the Falcons offensively than you saw last week. So I do think that it'll be a competitive game for a while. But I feel like this could come right on the number, and I'm going to completely pass on this one.
I'm going to pass on it as well. I mean, listen, we've basically come to grips with the fact that if it's David Blau under center for the Detroit Lions, we're not touching them at all. I might even consider taking Chicago, Blau being that poor.
I can't believe that they're going to start him.
Well, believe it. Well, again, it's just we've got to wait for the injury history and the injury updates. If the Buffalo-Dallas game does stay at -7 for the contest, then
perhaps
for the Nugget,
take Buffalo. Yeah,
I'll take Buffalo.
No, not for the Nugget. For the
for the Nugget. Contest. Oh yeah, for the Super Contest.
Yeah, we're passing on all of the Golden Nugget games so far.
Yeah.
And then Thursday night, for those of you who really want to watch an entertaining game, my guess is the best game of the day is going to be played in Starkville, Mississippi, when Ole Miss will take on Mississippi State. This is called the Egg Bowl. They play it every year. It tends to be an exciting game until last year, where Mississippi State just rolled Ole Miss. But Ole Miss has a nice young quarterback named John Rhys Plumlee, RHYS, like Reese Hoskins. And he has been on fire. He's been able to run the ball a little bit better. He's throwing the ball well. I like Ole Miss in this game. I think Ole Miss has a chance to win. The line is Mississippi State -2.5. And I could see Mississippi hanging in this one, and I think they have a good chance to win, but I think it'll be very entertaining. The total is 58. That tells you that there's going to be a lot of points scored in the game as well. So most people say it's a 3-game slate on Thursday. For me, it's a 4-game slate. I really enjoy these college football games on Thursday night. They've changed it through the years, and they've had different teams play on Thursday night. Sometimes they'll have Washington State. I've seen Texas A&M. I've seen TCU play on Thursday night too, but this is back-to-back years, I believe, of Ole Miss playing Mississippi State. And then come Friday, we're going to have to make a lot of decisions because there are, I think, 17 games being played on Friday in college football, including like a half a dozen noon games as well. In terms of college, where are we at here, Howard? We're kind of back into that situation that a lot of people didn't want to be with Oregon losing last week. Kind of depressing a little bit, honestly, that and I'm an SEC guy, but it does look like Alabama's getting back into the college football playoff. Alabama's going to play this week against Auburn, and if they win, that ends their season. And so LSU, the following week, is probably going to play against Georgia, which we would assume in the SEC championship, Georgia being the 4 seed of the 4. LSU, Howard, assuming they beat Georgia, that knocks Georgia out with 2 losses, and it enters another team into that championship. The question is, will it be Alabama not playing in the championship, sitting and watching, sneaking into the 4? Will it be Oklahoma playing against Oklahoma State as the 6 seed, jumping up again ahead of Alabama? I don't know that they would. And then the Pac-12 with that Oregon loss took a huge hit because I don't think Utah has any chance to jump over Oklahoma and to jump over the 4 seed, which is going to end up being Alabama. So we very well could be looking at a Alabama-LSU rematch in the first round of the playoff, which I thought was going to be really cool, and I wanted to see it when Tua was healthy, but I don't know that Alabama stands a chance against LSU with Mack at quarterback there. So we'll see.
We'll definitely see. We will.
And then Michigan, Ohio State this week too. You have that one as well. Big rivalry game as well.
Is that one? Where do you see that one? Like, where's the spread landing on that one right now? Like right. Ohio State by how much?
2 9
touchdowns?
9 games at Michigan. Michigan's teasing us again. Michigan early in the season looked brutal, and now they look great again. And you don't know whether or not you can trust them. Let me go through this. Wins by 25 over Indiana, 34 over Michigan State, 31 over Maryland, 34 against Notre Dame. I mean, that is super impressive. 4 straight wins of 3 touchdowns or more. And so some of the thought process is back on the Wolverines again. But I got to tell you, after watching Penn State last week, that notion that, they're going to show up and they're going to win by a lot because they really need it, that's kind of out the window. They are who they are at this point.
Right.
You know, I don't think you can go back to that against Michigan again. But Harbaugh's never beaten Michigan. I don't know. Is there anything else that we can throw out there? He is not. Harbaugh has not beaten Ohio State. Excuse me. Jim Harbaugh at Michigan has not beaten. He's not beaten them.
And I don't think he's going to do it either. I don't. Other college action that we're kind of looking at. Anybody in particular? Trying to see where.
Nothing that's going to be
where my academies are playing.
Deciding.
How about Penn State minus 40.5 against our good friends Rutgers?
Rutgers has been playing a little bit better. How about them offering the job to Greg Schiano? And then Greg Schiano says to Rutgers, if I'm going to come back, my salary is what it is, but you guys got to take these facilities and put millions into them because I can do all the recruiting you want. And I could bring in the players, but once they come and look at our facilities versus other places, they ain't going to come. And they go, oh, okay, thanks a lot, goodbye. And they told Greg Schiano to get lost. And so all of the former players are like going crazy. They're like, how could you not hire him? He wants to come back. He did a great job the first time he was here. I have a feeling that's going to work itself out. I think they're going to go back to him and work that out. As far as other top 25 games, Alabama's minus 3.5 at Auburn. 3:30 Eastern game on Saturday. Let's see if there's any other interesting games. LSU's minus 17 at home against Texas A&M. Clearly, they have to win to continue what they're doing. Utah has a walkover over Colorado. Florida State is always a good rivalry game, but the Gators are 17-point favorites. Oklahoma, had Spencer Sanders been involved in this game, this would be a threat to them, but he's not. So I don't think that OSU, even in Stillwater, I don't think that they win. They certainly can keep it close, but their quarterback was okay last week, but he's not Sanders. Sanders is good, and Jalen Hurts is out of this world. He's been playing great. They're Oklahoma's 13-point favorites on the road there, and that's pretty much it.
Let's throw in my 2 favorites here. Let's throw in my 2 favorites. I know it's not top 25 football, but come on, Navy only an 8.5-point favorite over over our good friends at Houston. Come on.
It didn't work out well for Houston against Army last year. We know how that worked out.
We do. And speaking of Army, they're 2.5-point underdog to Hawaii.
Army has not played well. They've been a disappointment this year. And they're going to play against Navy. They're going to be an underdog in that game too. Okay. Disappointing year for them.
So do we have a lean on either of those?
Maybe Navy. Maybe Navy.
The Cadets going to
I would not take Army.
No, me neither. No, I would take Hawaii in that one, but I would take Navy over Houston.
Yeah, that seems possible. Yeah, I like that. Okay, let's go over Sunday briefly. Panthers minus 10 against the Redskins at home. Okay, sure. Jets minus 3.5 on the road against the Bengals. Wow, the Jets are favored by 3.5 in an NFL game. Never would have thought that was coming. Boy, Tennessee, Indianapolis. The world is taking Tennessee this week. We know that. Tennessee getting 2.5 at Indy. That's a mistake. I'll tell you right now, that's a mistake. Baltimore minus 6 against San Francisco. If you're interested in betting Baltimore, here's some advice. If you don't do it now, this is your last chance because that line's going to go up. People are loving them right now. The public is going to be all over them. Tampa Bay, Jacksonville. That's the game where I dare somebody to watch 3 hours of that game on Sunday. Nightmare. Philadelphia. I like the over probably in that one. Philadelphia and Miami. The Eagles are minus 9 on the road. I would expect the Eagles to come back and play better against Miami.
Well, we got to see what happens. You got a bruised hand for Carson Wentz.
Those videos that Dan Orlovsky is posting. Did you see those of the receivers on the? Oh my gosh, on Philly.
Just dropping balls left and right.
Just like Satan is saying, like he's supposed to be here and he's not here. This guy's not turning around, and it's a great breakdown, and it shows you the difficulty that he has. And I'm very happy for Greg Ward. He's playing receiver for Philadelphia. He was the quarterback. Greg Ward was at Texas or Houston, one of those two teams. And Greg Ward was a great college quarterback. They converted him to wide receiver, and now he's like kind of learning on the go. They were expected to have Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson and Nelson Aguilar, and all those guys have been either hurt or ineffective, and so Ward has had to play. And Arcega-Whiteside, maybe in the future he's good. He's just not ready right now. So a lot of people are still putting this on Wentz. I'm really not. Like I mean, he has nothing there. He has nothing. They're going to end up trading up, getting the top wide receiver in the draft, I would assume. It would. He
does look kind of bad. He's questionable. That's one of the reasons it kind of bums me out that I don't really want to touch this game, because we are picking it early and we got to see what happens with the bruised hand. Although I tell you, with Josh McCown under center for the Eagles, because he's the backup.
Revenge game. Could you do revenge game with Josh McCown every game?
That would be every game.
Revenge game.
It would be. Revenge game narrative for him. It's a possibility.
Packers -6.5 at the Giants. Browns, for the first time in 20 years, are favorites at Pittsburgh. -1.5. Rams are at the Cardinals. Oh, we're taking the Cardinals, aren't we?
We have to.
The Rams are done. What is up with the Rams? My gosh.
Terrible.
Raiders, Chiefs. We'll get out the coin flip on the Raiders. You never know. Chargers, Broncos. Oh, another game that we can't watch. And then New England at Houston. I would lead New England in this one. I'm not a Houston guy, even though I took them last week. New England at Houston on Sunday night. New England is -3 in this game. And then the Monday night game, as we end this live stream, great game on Monday night, Minnesota and Seattle. Seattle is only a 3-point home favorite in this one. That's a good respect there for Minnesota, who did really good things at Dallas a couple of weeks ago, coming off a bye as well. If I'm not mistaken, the best record against the spread in history in the NFL, just food for thought, is Andy Reid off the bye. For whatever it's worth, off the bye, his straight up record and against the spread record are completely out of this world. So
really?
maybe it's something to consider. Yeah, I'll have
better than Belichick's 15-5 record.
Couldn't believe it. Yeah, Andy Reid. Let's see. I'll give it to you right now. Reid off a bye. See if we can come up with this quick. 17-3, 85%. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think 16-4 against the spread.
All right, well, 9.5-point favorites over Oakland. Oakland didn't look good, but Josh Jacobs running against that KC soft run defense.
I agree. The Chiefs defense is just. And what's the Chiefs running back situation at this point? What are they down to?
That's a hell of a question, Craig. It's a hell of a question. Is it Damian Williams? Is it LaShawn McCoy? Maybe throw in a little Darrell Williams? Damian Williams isn't healthy right now. He's still dealing with another hamstring problem. So right now it kind of tilts towards McCoy.
Listen, I just say start Priest Holmes in this one.
Sure, why not? Why not? Bring back Larry Johnson. Maybe he'll run for him again.
Jamal Charles.
Oh, that'd be sweet. That'd be sweet. Or Christian Okoye. Just bring back Christian Okoye.
Barry Word.
Wow, I can't go deeper than that.
Keep on going. Marcus Allen?
Marcus Allen. Oh, come on. That was the worst version of Marcus Allen ever.
Give him the ball in the one. He scores every time. Remember in fantasy, he would have 500 rushing yards, but 12 touchdowns?
With 12 touchdowns,
we'd start Marcus Allen just for the touchdown. And by the way, we used to play fantasy in those days without the yards, right? It was like, if you get 50 points rushing, you get 1 point in fantasy, right? That was it. But you get a touchdown, you get 6.
Touchdown only leagues, him and Stacey Mack. Wow, what a duo.
Bam Morris.
Bam Morris.
I love Bam Morris. All
right. Listen, you know what? We can just sit here back and forth. I'm not going to go back and forth. That's going to do it for us here.
Niall Davis.
Keep going. Go ahead.
I think I'm done. Kansas City running back.
Really? Come on. Type in footballreference.com.
Thank you. Spencer Ware. How about the it's not a racial thing, but how about the white running back on Cleveland? He ended up in Kansas City at the end. He was Hillis. Wasn't he there at one point? No?
I don't know. Cloud. Yeah, Cloud was there for a little bit.
I don't remember him.
All right. That's going to do it for us. That's it. We're done. We're not going to do this
Thank you, John and Pemba, for throwing me a couple of those names, by the way.
Beautiful. That's it for the Wager Alarm live stream. Again, Craig and I will be back here on Friday. Our Golden Nugget picks will have already be in. Hopefully, we'll have some results for you on Friday, and then we'll give you our super contest picks for all the Sunday games. Well, those are going to be in early also because, well, Thanksgiving. So until then, until Friday, have a very happy Thanksgiving for everybody.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, everyone, for watching these live streams throughout the year. I'm sure we'll have a lot more on these, and Howard and I are also, like last year, one of the proudest things that we did was the bowl preview last year. We were really, really good in the bowl games last year, and we're going to have that the week of the bowl games on the week of December 15th, I want to say. So look forward to that as well.
All right. So big thanks to our producer, John Impemba. For Craig Mish, I'm Howard Bender. This has been the Wager Alarm live stream. We'll catch you next time.